We have the editor of Politics First, Marcus Papadopoulos, joining us via Skype. Marcus, Jeremy Hunt there describing the group as the bravest of the brave. What's your characterization of the White Helmets?
Well, I consider the decision of the British government to resettle members of the White Helmets in the UK to be reprehensible and downright dangerous, because allowing members of the White Helmets to live in the UK is akin to allowing murderers and other hardened criminals to freely walk the streets of British towns and cities. The White Helmets, far from being the emergency rescue workers as they are projected by the West, are in fact a propaganda unit founded and funded by the British government. Secondly, they are terrorist, Wahhabist terrorist fighters themselves. And thirdly, they have been complicit in some of the most sickening, some of the most diabolical crimes against humanity in Syria that the world has ever known. So, in short, the White Helmets constitute a serious threat to UK national security.
So, Marcus, why are they being given the red carpet treatment by our Foreign Secretary and others?
Well, first of all, they were founded and funded by the British government principally, but also the American government, to dehumanize the Syrian government, the Syrian president, and the Syrian army as much as possible, and to propagate the myth that the people that the Syrian army is fighting against 24/7 are peaceful freedom fighters who simply want democracy in their lives, freedom in their lives, and human rights. Now, the British, of course, have to come to the aid of their people, and we can say that the White Helmets are some of their proxies in Syria, and it would not be in the interests also for members of the White Helmets to be captured by the Syrian army, because the Syrian army, should they capture members of the White Helmets, they will interrogate them, and they could elicit some very sensitive information about key backers in Britain and in America, but also in Turkey and Saudi Arabia. So the British and the Americans want to get their people out of Syria. They want them to not be captured by the Syrian army, so as to try and prevent any damning information, any more damning information coming out about the true face of what is a despicable organisation, which is, of course, the White Helmets.
Marcus, on the same day, we've heard that the British government won't stand in the way of the death penalty for two of the captured Daesh fighters known as the Beatles. Isn't this akin to letting in additional members of the Beatles instead of actually having them go on trial elsewhere? Can we be outraged about one and not outraged about the other?
I absolutely concur with you. The logic of the British government is absolutely peculiar, because in the eyes of Whitehall, there are good terrorists, good extremists, and there are bad terrorists and bad extremists. And the members of the group, this ISIS group who you have referred to, well, in my opinion, I don't think anyone should be concerned about whatever their fate is, whatever fate awaits them in the future. But at the same time, these people in this ISIS group are no different in terms of ideology, in terms of their despicable nature, compared to the people in the White Helmets. The people, the personnel of the White Helmets are, ideologically speaking, identical to members of ISIS, and are, ideologically speaking, the same as the people who carried out the terrible massacres in Britain last year in Manchester, at Westminster, and on London Bridge.